Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We're gonna call to order.
Yours?
Can we do a roll call?
Trustee Torpley,
Present.
Trustee Henderson,
Here.
Trustee Brady,
Here.
Trustee Pinkerton,
Here.
Trustee Wood,
Here.
Student Trustee Colton,
Present.
Superintendent President Walton.
Here.
And then are there any public comments related to closed session items?
No, there are not.
Okay, and so we are gonna recess to closed session. Let's just call it 5 o'clock and 30 seconds.
I have
No,
found-
5:01.
Somebody donated me a
Oh,
flat.
that
Oh,
boom. And we don't have a report out of closed session. You just tell them what you want to tell them, sir. Sorry.
Good evening, President Tarpley, board members. The board met in closed session. Closed session began at approximately 5:05 PM. All members were present. Two items were discussed. Closed session concluded at 5:56. There's no reportable action regarding any of the items that the board met on. And that concludes the report out.
Oh, whoops. Okay, thank you so much. I have to go back to the roll call. Have a safe drive home, Jeff. Thank you very much. Sorry, I skipped parts. You know, I just like to do things different. Roll call, please.
Trustee Thompson.
I'm here,
Trustee
barely.
Henderson.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Pinkerton.
Here.
Trustee Wood.
Here.
Student trustee Fulton.
Present.
And Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Okay, do I have any volunteers to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, I saw a hand.
What hand?
Yeah, it went up.
Was it Todd
I
Scott?
saw it up.
No, I think he's right here.
Jason, go ahead.
That kid over there stuck his hand up.
Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Todd and Jason. So we will be having the invocation today by Gwen and Arnold Tackett. I see you guys in the back if you want to come to the microphone podium situation.
This might be the first ever dual invocation.
I like it.
Special deal.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's great. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with a heart of gratitude. We thank you, Father, for Victor Valley College. We thank you for what it brings to the high desert area. We thank you, Father, for all the people who make sacrifices each and every day. We thank you, Father, for all the professors, for the teachers, the administrators, the janitors, the groundskeepers, everyone. We thank you for their hard work and diligence. And tonight, Father, we thank you for this Board of Trustees. We thank you, Father, for the leadership that they bring to this college and to this community.
Father, your word says that it is the Lord himself that goes ahead of us. So, Lord, we believe that you've gone ahead of each one of these trustees and that they are seeking your wisdom and your direction for your very best, for your kingdom's sake, for Victorville and the college. And we pray these things for your divine blessing on this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I did that out of order. So 3.4, we can just check that off. So now we're going to announce deleted or corrected items for the agenda.
Yes, staff is pulling item 3 point, actually, we're pulling item 15.1, Feeding America of Riverside, San Bernardino.
And that's an action?
That is a,
Yes.
Yes,
Student
an action item.
services.
Which one?
15.1 is being pulled.
15.1.
Yeah, it's on the back. Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments related to non-agenda items? Report out of Board of Trustee goals. I don't remember how many of us and
So-
who.
this month it's trustee Henderson, trustee Wood, and trustee Tarpley.
Woo.
So Henderson, his goal is promoting and supporting the Chancellor's Office vision for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Trustee Wood, support and improve student outcomes, enrollment, and retention through planning and resource allocation. And trustee Tarpley,
The money.
monitor the fiscal health of the college.
Money.
The money. Okay, who wants to go first? You guys want to Rochambeau?
I feel like mine's like the best news, so I'll go last.
You go last. So
go
Dennis, you go
first.
first.
I'm pleased to report tonight that Vice President Monica Martinez is establishing a work group to create the layout and furniture plan for the upcoming multicultural center project. And plans for the grand opening of the center are also in the works, with the goal for the center to open sometimes in late October or early November.
Yay!
The work being done towards this exciting new center is tied to board goal number 2, as it demonstrates our commitment as a college to support and the diverse communities we serve. As trustee of the college, we fully support these efforts.
So I'm goal 4. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
I'm goal 4, monitor the fiscal health of the college with the goal of maintaining a minimum of 16.7% reserve. There's a few things that happened at the last board meeting pertaining to this goal. We received a presentation that was passing. We received a presentation and passed the 2022-2023 final budget. It looks very promising and meets our goal of the college having that 16.7% reserve, which is amazing. We will continue to monitor the financial integrity of the college each time financial reports are brought to the board meetings, which we have requested that happen on a quarterly basis, and we get those as requested. Along with this, we approved board policy 6200 and 6250, which both have to do with budget management, mandating unrestricted general fund reserves be no less than 16.7% and requiring board approval to access those reserves. All work on this goal supports our accreditation standard, and this report can also be tied to board goal 1 because we are demonstrating through our actions as a governing board that we are doing our part in meeting accreditation standards. Save the best for last, Brandon Wood.
All right, enrollment.
Let me turn on the mic. Ooh. Enrollment. So this is as of last month, the semi-annual report. You can applaud at each one if you like. They're all very applaudable, or you can hold your applause to the end, your choice. Allied health enrollments are up by 35%. There we go, I like that. CIS up by 38%.
Good job.
Child development up by 41%.
Woo!
Restaurant management up 42%.
That's because they're amazing food
Right,
incentives.
we know why that is. Criminal justice up 45%.
What?
It's only getting better. I don't want to spoil any surprises,
Just
but
tell us. I'm waiting.
animation up 47%.
What is it?
Animation.
Animation. Nobody cares about animation.
Yes,
I guess.
they do.
No claps for animation. They're like,
Said that out loud?
there was no claps. Welding up 48%.
Wow.
Now here we really go. Automotive up 84%.
Oh, thank God. That's such a need.
Construction up 100%. Right.
What's it?
You're too shocked to even clap over there
Yeah.
now. Agriculture up 103%.
Okay, that's amazing.
Electronics up 119%.
Wow.
And last but not least, paralegal studies up 145%. All right,
What the heck?
145%.
Amazing. You
That's
guys are
insane, right?
amazing.
And
Tell your teams.
So
They're
there it
doing a good
is.
job.
That's, I would say that's spectacular.
Yeah.
So a
Absolutely
big hats
spectacular.
off to every single person
Absolutely.
outside of these doors that is making this happen, and the people that are inside of this room that are making it happen. But that's remarkable, or unremarkable, I guess, because I am a little dumbfounded at what to even say about that. It's so great. So, all right.
Thank you, sir. So moving on to the superintendent president's report.
All right, so the state of California began to fund all of the community colleges, both one-time fund and ongoing funding, because they have asked that a basic needs center be created at every single community college in California. So they've not just passed the legislation, they've given us the money to do it. And so, to give you an idea of kind of what we're doing, we have the director of Next Up, which is our former foster youth, as well as over basic needs and health, mental health, and I don't know, Amber, you can give them all of the titles you have, but this is Amber Allen who heads all this.
I do have a PowerPoint for visual.
You know, we love those.
I'm a visual person, so I
Yeah.
try to consider that one.
Yeah.
So,
He'll get it up. Just give him a second.
this is kind of a visual representation of the areas that I oversee. So our Thrive Resource Center will be where basic needs is held. Mental health will also be held in the Basic Needs Center. I oversee Next Up, our program for current and former foster youth. The Village, our program for homeless and housing insecure students, as well as the Peak Food Pantry. Those are kind of all the little logos that we have for them. All right, next, please. All right, so under basic needs, these are kind of all the things that we're doing right now. So starting this fall, we expanded the food pantry hours to accommodate more students. So we start at 9 a.m. and go to 5 p.m., typically Monday through Thursday. We end around 2 p.m. each day. I have statistics a little bit further along, but just to give you some context. The food pantry is upstairs in building 44, sort of around the corner from ASB.
Okay.
So our numbers have substantially increased, and so we'll get into the numbers in a little bit. We also do food distribution every single Thursday. So my team and I go to High Desert Second Chance. We load some vans up with a bunch of produce and fruit and other things, and we set up our office like a little store. So students can come by there and do a little bit of shopping for whatever they need to take home for them and their families. We partner with other departments on campus, make sure that our categorical programs are aware of these services that we're doing to encourage their students to take advantage of them. We work with community partners to connect students to resources. I work directly with Sybil Smith in financial aid to make sure students are able to take advantage of emergency funds and things like that as they identify a need. Housing support services, connecting them to resources that are already available in the community. So my philosophy is we pay last. So if there's other agencies that are doing these things already just for longevity, let's tap into those and then we kind of come along if we need to. External partnerships, that's a very big thing we're working on, is making sure that we're aware of what's already happening in the community so we're not duplicating services. And then technology, working with Robert in his area to make sure if students identify a need regarding a laptop loaner. We also have a resource for lower priced Wi-Fi or internet in people's homes. I think we can get like $10 or $20 knocked off the price, so we give that resource to students as well. Next, please. All right, so the Basic Needs Center is something that we have, we're going to be establishing. We have identified a location on campus. It will be where our first year experience program currently is. That's kind of a little glimpse of the pictures of the 3 portables. So the portable on the right-hand side where the picture is sort of the entry point, the office area. So that'll be where the project manager for basic needs office is. Student services specialists will be in there and student workers to greet students, identify their needs, connect them to the appropriate place. The second building, right to the left of it, will be an area for community agencies. So inviting community agencies to come on our campus to do office hours, so we don't have to send students away. So we're going to bring the county to our campus. We're going to bring anybody that works directly with our students that can be a resource for them. They'll come directly to our campus. And then the portable to the left, you can barely see it, will be food pantry. So we can expand our food pantry. We are running out of space. I took a picture of it, so it'll be on, I think the last slide has a picture of the food pantry. You'll see we're really, really stuffed in there. So moving forward, making sure that all students know about our resources, planning to review findings that I did. I did a basic needs survey, kind of a just a quick one to get it out there last spring to identify needs and then start figuring out how we're going to use this money to target what actually students need and not just what I think that they need. And so we'll do it again in the spring so we can measure and see if we're, making the impact we think that we are. Also working with financial aid and MIS to get a report to show us all the students with a 0 EFC so we can target those students specifically because they tend to be the ones with the greater need to make sure that they are aware of what we're doing and they can tap into it. We often hear, I didn't know you have food on Thursdays. I didn't know we had a food pantry. But as more students are taking advantage of it, the word is getting out and it's going to be used at a higher rate. Trying to make sure faculty and staff are aware. Towards the bottom, there's like an intake process we've created. So there's one entry point. So a student fills out a Thrive resource request form, which is on our website, and they can identify what their needs are. It's typically anywhere between 3 to 7. So they can ask for food, clothing, off-campus resources, on-campus resources, mental health. It's all captured there. And then we close the loop by sending them resources and also connecting with them directly. For the use of the one-time funds that we have received, that's to sort of do a little bit of a facelift of the buildings to make them really inviting. For me, it's really about creating warmth, and so I like colors. So the Next Up Center right over here has a lot of colors in there. It's very bright. It's very inviting. So using some of that money to do some of those things there as well. CalFresh outreach. Helping students really connect to long-term solutions and not just giving them sort of Band-Aids is what we're trying to figure out as well. And then obviously creating and running the Basic Needs Center. All right, next please. All right, on the Next Up side, so there is a correlation between students that were in the foster care system and those who end up experiencing homelessness or having basic needs insecurities, so it's really beneficial that I also supervise Next Up. We typically serve about 130 to 150 current and former foster youth a year. We did receive the highest allocation in the state of California of all Next Up programs this year. Last year we were second highest, so I'm pretty competitive and I also like to serve, so it was really, really rewarding for my team and I to see that. But we basically provide all of these services that are listed and more. So it's basically whatever it takes to help a student become a student, continue, persist, and to graduate with whatever their educational goal is. So they can walk in the door and say, hey, I need to help connect to someone to get a restraining order against my baby daddy. Like we help them with literally anything that they need help with. We do check-ins with them every single week. Someone is calling them to say, hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? We find that if we can catch them before the snags prevent them from going to class, then they're more likely to persist. So the main thing we hear is whatever we need to do is what we're going to do, obviously within legal bounds, but it's like that. All right, next slide, please. So the Village is our program for students experiencing homelessness. We have revamped this program to ensure that the students who are taking advantage of it need it and are going to follow a process and are going to actually do the things that best practices have shown are going to keep them from going back into homelessness after receiving assistance. So we offer shared housing, rental assistance, so we help them identify long-term housing solutions, case management, physical health, and mental health. So in order to participate in this program as of July 1st, they have to pass an intake for all of these things. So there's about 5 different eyes on them to make sure that they are a good fit to receive continual services. The eligibility are also things we put in place to make sure that people aren't just coming to VVC because they want housing, but that they actually have a desire to persist and to complete some kind of an educational goal. So from the beginning of the program, we started in January 2021. I did present at the board meeting when we first got started. Until recently, we received over 200 referrals. So we're getting a lot of students who are identifying the need. And so we're making sure that whatever we're providing them as far as a service, that they actually need it and it's tailored to them. So we may get referrals for people who are saying that I'm homeless, I want you to put me in housing. Tomorrow, we don't do rapid rehousing to ensure that we know who we're putting in housing and that they understand that this is a process and they have to go through things to help them to become independent. They have to do case management. They have to do mental health. Those are requirements as part of the program. I think that's good. Next slide, please. Mental health. So last year when I inherited mental health, we created a mental health action plan with some folks around campus. So these are the things that we have identified as being our priorities for this year. Related to these priorities, we're working with Victor Community Support Services. They provide on-site counseling every Tuesday and Thursday for our students for free. Faculty and staff are actually able to take advantage of that as well. But these are some things that we'll be working on this year. So mental health first aid training, my team and I also went through that a couple of years back in person. Super beneficial in working on the front line with students just to identify, how to best help someone and to identify if they're really going through some trauma and where you can direct them. We do have a non-credit wellness course that I've worked with Debbie Blanchard to get through, so that will hopefully be coming through probably in the spring, just for sustainability purposes and to really, invest in our students. Next, please. All right, this is the last one. So this is kind of numbers for the pantry. So I inherited the pantry probably like late January. So from January to now, the numbers have significantly increased. When I inherited it, they were seeing probably about 30 students a day. Our average now is about 300.
Wow.
So that's an average. Like our high, I was checking the numbers I think yesterday when I was preparing for this. Our high was last Thursday. 394 students went through the pantry. And our low has been 192. So we are really hitting significant numbers.
From 30.
Yes. So on the left, the picture on the left is, it's, I didn't expect it, to be honest, because in the summer we were serving about 100 a day, and then we made a huge jump, and so we've had to really, the ordering process of food has significantly gone up. But the picture on the left is a picture of the food pantry. So we revised it so students get to choose what they want. And prior to that, they were getting sort of handed a bag of stuff. And what we were finding is that they were just throwing it in the trash.
Yep.
They would take the water out and just toss the rest. So fiscally responsible, I'm trying to think, what's the best way for us to meet their need, but also be fiscally responsible? So they get to choose. They get to come up and say, I would like, one breakfast, one lunch, 2 snacks, and a water. And they get usually at least 2 options, depending on what time of the day, but at least 2 options. But first thing in the morning, they get 3 options. Choose one of 3. So I think that has helped with the numbers because they get to pick what they want. So today they can get a cup of noodles. Tomorrow they can get mac and cheese. And these are things they can eat on campus while they're here. They require hot water or just a microwave. That's sort of the purpose of the pantry is right now I need to be full for the day so I can focus on school. It's been great. We do close early on Fridays. We see about a third of the students on Fridays. And so when we close early, we use the rest of the time to get the pantry ready for the next day, or the next week, I'm sorry. The right-hand side is our weekly food distribution we do on Thursdays. We see around 50 students each week. The number can go up or down, but that's them and their family. So as you can see, that's our Next Up Center with all the food that we pick up from High Desert Second Chance, the local food bank. So it varies each week, but it's typically fresh produce and sometimes we get some dairy products and things like that. But it's free for the students. So it's definitely a great resource for those who are struggling financially. As gas goes up, people have to accommodate and figure out how I'm going to balance that out. So this is helping students to be able to do that. So that's all I have. I try to be brief. I can be overwhelming. So any questions? Yes.
How do you go from 30 to 300? We're being told nationally we're not in a recession yet, but it's on its way. Okay. What's really what all of a sudden did this?
I think students didn't know. They didn't know that it was there. It wasn't visible, and I think there was shame around it. Like walking up to it, it means that people are going to look at me a certain way. Mm-hmm. But I think it's been normalized. I think that the campus has done a really good job normalizing hunger. Like you're hungry, go get something to eat. And my friend is coming with me, and he's also hungry. So we're going together versus I'm walking up. There's lines sometimes wrapped around, so it's not it's almost like a commodity a little bit because they're like, wow, what is this? And they thought it costs money. That's what we're hearing from students too. They thought it actually costs money to go to the pantry. So I did look at unduplicated count. Since the beginning of the term, it's been about 1,400 students unduplicated that have visited the food pantry.
Wow.
So from when I presented to Cabinet a few weeks back, it was 1,100. So 300 additional have come even since then. So it just shows that there's a need, and we're doing the best that we can. But I think just continuing in that direction, and even if we're just we're feeding them, getting them full for the day, so they can focus on their classes, they can be fully present instead of having a growling stomach while they're sitting there.
Amazing work.
It's definitely team effort. I do not take responsibility for all of it. I have a wonderful team. So.
We'll tell them we think they're amazing.
I will let them know.
I'm happy to hear that you switched from the prepackaged right out of the gate, it was a huge nightmare that we kept hearing about the granola bars. The campus was littered with granola bars. Nobody wanted the
I
granola
know.
bars.
Well,
So they were just throwing them away
I know.
or just leaving them.
I don't like waste.
Everywhere.
Like a waste, we can use that money for something else. We do have little baskets around campus with things that we get donated. So we do put kind bars in there. And I was told that students don't like them, but they're always empty.
Kind
So,
bars are good. Those
I
are
agree.
like the best
I
granola
agree.
bars.
So we still do it with the kind bars that we get donated. So, all right.
Thank you, Amber.
All right, no problem.
Thank you.
Great job. Does the ASB want, that's good. Does the ASB want to talk about goals today? All right.
Yes. So, do I go?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Go, girl.
For goal number 2, ASB members will be attending a webinar on October 18th pertaining to civic engagement. It will be with the Secretary of the State, Shirley N. Weber, and she is planning on helping the community colleges get their students engaged with voting. So that's pertaining to our goal number 2. Goal number 4, October 14th, ASB will be hosting a Hispanic Heritage event. Day of the Dead will also be taking place on November 1st. Goal number 5, ASB members met with M&O staff, and M&O staff is currently doing research and will get back to us pertaining to recycling. Goal number 8, our PR and marketing continue to promote events on social media platforms and through email. The ASB event calendar online is currently being updated with events that are happening and getting ready to happen.
Awesome.
And that's it for my report out.
Thank you. Wonderful. John Nolan, facilities update.
Okay, quick update on facilities, so you know we're not just sitting around doing nothing. I think Tim has a couple pictures to share with you. On your consent agenda tonight, there's 4 notices of completion. This is the new revolving door at the SAC, if you haven't had a chance to walk through it yet.
Indeed.
We installed that hopefully to get better control of our HVA systems, because in the winter, the cold air blows in. In the summer, the hot air blows in, and it really has wreaked havoc with our control in that building. And so this was put in to try to alleviate that issue. Another notice of completion, we did a fiber optic line project that increased our capacity in some of these 40s buildings, 42, 41. So that'll bring increased Wi-Fi capability. The SAC elevator is now complete. We had some issues with that.
Again.
Yes. There's a lake irrigation line, which you can't take pictures of because it's all underground, but there's actually a line that runs from the upper lake and feeds the lower lake, which I think the board and the president have never seen the lower lake, but I'll take some pictures at the next meeting and show you what the lower lake actually gathers water. We feed that lower lake, and that water is pumped onto the soccer fields and the softball fields. So that's how we irrigate down there. So there's a line this existing line ran through the space where the new football field's going, so we had to put in a lower line to keep the water flowing down there.
Was that a surprise, or did you know that ahead of time?
Well, we knew it just before the project kicked off. But we're finding a few things about the site that we didn't know about on the football field. So the next slide. So the Rams Cafe
Oh, that looks so good.
is about 90% complete. Deanna and her crew are scheduling interviews now for a food services manager, so we're trying to staff up to get that. Hopefully, we can get staffed up and get that thing opened up maybe in the winter as kind of a pilot and get ready for the spring semester. So there's another couple more pictures of the cafe.
Wow,
We'll have to take you down there and look at it.
Yeah.
It's pretty
good.
nice
We need
compared to,
samples. Tyler, we need samples.
yeah,
Right. Compared to what it was, like, that's
Seriously.
beautiful.
yeah. So it turned out really nice. Okay, next slide.
Wow.
Building 50 has been turned over to Dr. Scott. So he has new classrooms, 5 faculty offices, brand new restroom facilities for men and women, and a couple of single occupancy restrooms. So there's a faculty office. I don't know who he's going to have some fights over those. Those are pretty nice offices.
Yeah, look at that storage.
Yeah. So next slide, please. There's some work down at the stadium, Educational Event Center. There's some lines, some of the main feeder lines for Southern Cal Edison that we have to do right away. Some of these very nice trees, we demoed all those out of there, so. The trees around the baseball field, which pretty much look like that one, are all gone as we speak. Next slide. There's the scoreboard being knocked over. So it's gone now. Next. Some more, there's some of the trees around the baseball field that we took out, and then some of the equipment, excavator going. Some of the things we've recently ran into, knowing that this was formerly the Kalen Ranch, well, there was lot of flood irrigation fixtures down in that area. So basically, we have to identify them and crush them in place so they don't create any issues later when we put the football field down. We don't want the thing to sag if some of those pipes give way. So that's going to cost us a little bit of money and effort to get that, just to make sure that we don't have any future issues on the field itself, because none of us here right now really knew they were there until we took the football field out.
Started digging.
Yeah. We're currently, we just finished up the paint carpet for the multicultural center. Now Monica's chasing the furniture. Amber's building 52, so hopefully we'll get started on that basic needs center here shortly. Get some paint and some carpet in those areas. And then we're working on cosmetology for McKinsey. In the 66 complex, there's some plumbing required when you have hair washing stations and foot cleaning. I don't know what, but.
Foot cleaning. Yes, that's
washing.
what it is. That is
But
what it
anyway,
is.
a lot of plumbing and electrical.
Mackenzie, you're in charge of foot cleaning. That's, right, that's your new
I'm
title.
not a big pedicure guy. Actually, I've never had one, but we will invite the board to come down there and utilize those.
You would be a fan.
They'll do it for free for you once you get.
That's right.
Yeah, you'll
Finally,
get your.
John Nolan of clean feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might not.
Todd, you're in charge of taking pictures.
Okay. That's pretty much it. Any questions on any of the projects?
John, on the baseball diamond, I've had a couple of people live in Spring Valley Lake that use Fish Hatchery Road at night. And they've asked, so when are we gonna get to the baseball diamond? And I know that,
Well, actually, we're gonna redo the irrigation on it right now. We're gonna start on, as soon as they're done with the fall ball, because it's been kind of problematic keeping
we
it
were
green.
done a cost to update that whole thing to kind of bring it into,
No, we haven't. We are running a water line down for hopefully a future restroom complex. So we've extended the water service for this stadium. We're pushing it farther north and having it capped off so we can hopefully locate a little restroom facility there, because right now we got porta potties. So, yeah, it's, we haven't done any real extensive stuff, but we're gonna try to really clean it up when it's gonna sit next to a brand new football stadium. It's gonna stick out.
That's why it sticks out.
That's
Why maybe
kind of why
restrooms?
we took out those trees, because they were kind of unsightly compared to what's gonna be there. So,
Well, and as you have done that, people that walk from Spring Valley Lake through here all the time, they'll call and say, and I just wait over time.
yeah, no, but it's
And I will
actually,
say this, I get a pedicure every quarter, and I just said to my
Every
wife. the other day,
quarter?
just go, No, they're wonderful, they're wonderful. I don't care what you say, they're wonderful.
Every quarter.
yeah, I've heard that.
They're wonderful.
Whether he needs it or not.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they're wonderful.
wonderful.
Well, you
We
can,
call that self-care.
Mackenzie will get you scheduled next time when she gets up and running.
Are we,
Foot cleanings. Buy one, get one.
John, are we
I'm gonna tell you, when you find somebody good that does it, you stick with them.
Yeah.
Deb's gone the same lady for 24 years.
Just as I saw the picture, I thought that would probably be something kind of cool to keep.
You're so funny.
We did salvage the flagpole. We're gonna move it down to the baseball field and have it installed down there.
I was just thinking that old scoreboard would be kind of cool to keep, like, it's been there a long time.
Griner paid for that, didn't he?
They probably did.
Yes, you did. We can keep it at your house. You wanna keep it.
It would look
I'm doing my best to get rid of junk on campus.
No, it looked
All
kinda
right,
cool, huh?
foundation.
The neon
Kirsten.
museum in Vegas, you know?
Yeah, oh, that's right.
All that old stuff is fancy again.
Good evening, everyone. I will be brief this evening as we've been busy getting ready for our event coming up on the 21st. So I want to give you a little bit of an update. Speaking of Griner, not Bob, but David Griner will be our MC for the event. And then we have a panel, which will be led by Charlotte Allen. And on the panel will be Dr. Rick Radcliffe, Dr. Henry Young, Dr. Lorena Dorn, and Martha Mendez. And we're pulling all facets of the college out in a panel discussion. And all of those areas will be covered by those individuals on the panel. So it should be very interesting. And I've been working with Dr. Trang over there. And we were able to partner together after the event. Our speaker, Rhonda Coleman, an entrepreneur herself, is going to join us for the ribbon cutting that we're having, and she'll be saying a few words and joining some of you on stage. So we thought that was a really great opportunity, right, to create some excitement and about the whole ribbon cutting and entrepreneur and innovation. And I have invitations for you.
Oh, thank you. Do foot cleanings come with this? Just checking. Okay.
Perhaps.
But
We could maybe do something.
We are
Thank you so
asking-
much.
we are asking our board president to, if she can attend to speak at the entrepreneur grand opening after the education summit.
Okie dokie.
So just,
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Mackenzie will be in touch with you about what to say.
Perfect. Thank you.
And John, I want to thank you for getting the door done on 44 for our guests that will be joining us. It'll be easy. I'll leave extras on the back for anyone who's interested. Please invite anyone and everyone to come. It's going to be great.
Very exciting.
That's what I have.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the High Desert Educational Summit
Yes.
is the event you were talking about.
Yes, it is the event. And then
And
this
this-
is, we're
On the 21st.
piggybacking on this.
And the
Yes.
grand opening is for the Entrepreneur Center
Building 42.
is right after that.
Correct.
What'd you
So we'll wind up the event, thank everyone for coming, and invite them to follow us over to 42. There'll be some refreshments, and Rhonda Coleman will come over there as well, photo op.
That's awesome.
Yeah, speaking, you can take pictures, video.
What kind of refreshments?
I don't know, I
Okay.
understand
got Sam
Fabiola
Adams
might be in
here.
charge of those.
Boston Brewery.
But Tyler is doing breakfast,
Okay, cool.
so that'll be nice. 2 breakfast stations in front of the SAC.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
At the
welcome.
Busch Gardens.
Yes, I'm excited.
Okay, this is the best COVID update that I could give you. As of yesterday, no staff and no faculty were reporting positive COVID.
Finally.
And out of our 13,500 students that we have on campus right now, 2
Wow.
reported COVID.
Thank you so much.
And
Well, the
as you
president
know,
said
I
it's
just got
over.
over my second bout, and then I got to feeling good, went on a cruise. Glad to be back. And that's all the comments I have on that section
Okay.
of the agenda. I was gonna say for the night, but that would be a lie.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Right? So then we're moving on to reports then, is that what you're saying?
You're ready,
Ready. So Academic Senate,
not here,
not here. AFT Part-Time Faculty United.
not here,
ASB.
here.
I forgot how to pronounce that. Seesaw is a student leadership conference taking place on November 21st through 23rd in San Diego. ASB will be attending that.
October,
October. What did I say? September?
November. I
November?
don't know what
Oh.
month.
Sorry. It was October 21st through 23rd. It'll be taking place in San Diego. ASAC is also another student leadership conference taking place in November, on November 4th through 6th in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's it.
And you guys are going?
We're planning on
Ooh,
going.
Fun. Okay, and that was it.
Yeah, if the board says yes tonight.
Oh. CSEA.
Not here,
Let me make my X. CTA.
not here.
Management.
Here.
I haven't seen those others for so long. I forgot what they look like.
They're colluding and bargaining units. Because we're in the middle of bargaining right now.
I don't have
I
any
look
words.
at it as everything's peaceful.
Let's just move
Yeah,
on
it's
to the
peaceful,
management
yeah, it's
report.
Nobody shows up.
I sat here when they were all right
Okay, we're
here.
gonna
I know,
let
they were all
him.
up
He's
in
at the
arms,
podium. Let's let him speak.
So good evening. My name is Wesley Wilson. I'm the Director for Justice Involved Education here at Victor Valley College. I'm here to give you a 3-minute update on my program. So next slide. So I wanted to set the stage. The leadership at VVC has decided that there was a real need for outreach for underserved and unserved populations here in the high desert. They hired me a year ago. I am serving for my 1 year. As of last month, and in fact, a year ago at this meeting, I was introduced as a new hire. The expansion of the role happened very quickly. They had thought this was only going to be an inmate education program, as you can see by my name tag, but we noticed very quickly that we had to grow beyond that, including a non-credit, as well as our reentry program, as well as our alternatives to incarceration, and other things that we were doing in the high desert. Everything that we had put together in our ideas resulted in us pursuing and in being awarded the Rising Scholars Network grant for $390,000. The one thing I want to let you know is, much like Amber Allen was saying, this was not a Wes Wilson gig. This was the creation of a task force. We realized very quickly we had to have community partners in this, so we pulled together a lot of community members, including government members, as well as our justice-involved community, so that way they could all participate and give us guidance on where this is going. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the credit curriculum. The credit curriculum basically offers classes that for the associate's degree at FCC Victorville and in the High Desert Juvenile Detention Center. We've increased our enrollment at the Juvenile Detention Center from 3 to 16 just by being present and going in to offer guidance as well as supports for those classes. And we are about to roll out in 2 weeks our classes at the FCC Victorville that will start with 60 students. And we currently have, and I just verified it today with Mike Tassone at the federal prison, that we're going to have 300 on a waiting list. For that, we have put through an ACCJC substantive change, thanks to Dr. Scott. We have a correspondence addendum for all of our current courses that we can offer inside the prison done through correspondence. We've identified a lot of different programs that could have been offered, but we decided to go with business and sociology for our associate's degrees, and I'll talk a little bit more about those. The one thing that we really wanted to work on was weaknesses that we've identified in other programs, such as the lack of instructor feedback, academic guidance, and tutoring supports. The non-credit curriculum, we designed that around the workforce preparation for people who are getting out, reentry folks who may not be ready for college level classes. So we wanted to create those so that way they would support people as they were getting out, as well as preparing them in the workforce and being successful in the workforce. That's the picture of what the certificates are. You guys all approved those courses. We're about to approve the certificates as soon as they pass through all of our committees. Campus education, we have a lot to do in the way of identifying and figuring out what we're going to do with correspondence education, including the intentional academic pathways that we're going to be offering, collaborations with the facilities as well as the leadership that we've done there, campus education and professional development. We're offering those as non-credit. And even designing certificates around the professional development for them, as well as looking and updating policies and procedures. I know that Dr. Art Lopez was supposed to be here this evening. We've already passed the priority registration at the All College Council, and we're looking at the California residency and the fees, which are also areas where we know have been barriers for other colleges as they've approached this population. Last one, as we look forward, I know I'm over my 3 minutes. Community involvement, we're looking for parenting and trauma classes. We're partnering with Cal State San Bernardino so that they can come up and offering those trauma classes for people who are justice involved, as well as a professional development coursework. We've actually reached out to UCLA and made some partnerships with them, including the Bachelor's in Prison program they will accept every one of our associate's degrees that have the IGETC certificate, and they're going to transfer immediately without question to UCLA's Bachelor in Prison program that's currently established at FCC Victorville. The other thing that we've got them to do and are leveraging is to look at the professional development we're offering and how it can be transferred into a professional certificate done through UCLA's extension program, so that way we can all have a professional certificate if you are interested in this. The last thing is we're putting together an initiative on alternatives to to incarceration. That initiative that falls into allowing judges and lawyers in the county to be able to request that we are the area where we can have students come and be educated, so it changes their lives rather than rehabilitation rather than punishment inside prison. So I'm over. I'm sorry, guys, I failed you.
We don't mind in the slightest. That's amazing. Leave this
I'm really
college right
impressed.
now.
When FCC
right
was
now.
built, it was built for max offenders. So some questions. The people that are going through the classes, are these people that will get out someday, or are these people that are going to be in there
We did not
for a
pla-
really long period of time?
We did not place that as a restriction or as one of the considerations
Yeah.
for them. What we looked at was motivation as well as their intent on why they want to take the classes. We looked at that, so they could be incarcerated for a very long time, or they could be getting out in the next couple of
Is
years.
there a way to eventually track that? Because that nationally, the recidivism rate, continues to increase. It's not going down. And the educational component they find is the one thing that does decrease recidivism.
Actually, the FCC and I are working together on a tracking system that would allow them to research the justice databases on who's recidivating and why, and is it administrative or are they recommitting crimes or new crimes? So there's all sorts of national data on that coming from the U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. Department of Justice. That's where I was before I joined you guys here in the High Desert. I know that those studies are out there, and I'm following those as well. So we'll be tracking all of that as we go forward.
I'd say this, for all the years I've sat up here, we've seen a lot of grant dollars and a lot of interaction monetarily between us and FCC. This is the first time in my 11 years I've ever heard a report come back, and it's great to hear.
Well, and the one thing I wasn't sure if Dr. Walden would allow me to share was with the 60 students that we have confirmed, he and I worked it out one time that those 60 students having those FTES and the amount of credits they're going to generate is going to be just under $500,000 for the college for our FTS, as well as raising our head count. And that doesn't include the 300 we have on the
That's
waiting
just
list.
the first
That's
year.
Just the
That's
first year.
just the 60.
Just the pilot 60 that we're starting in
Pilot
2 weeks.
60. That is
So-
remarkable.
So
No, that's, I mean, it's, I
we
mean,
hire
it's,
people and we make them make their salary up.
I didn't make the first year, but I'm going to try to make the second year.
Times 5.
so Dr. Dan, I will share this with you and the other board members because I'm really proud of it. I was not a good kid, and I got sent to a military school where they could beat you back in the 60s. My father said to me,
Sorry.
no,
way you
seriously, I
said
mean, this is
it
how
made
the things, life in the 60s were pretty simple in America. You didn't have all these choices. My dad told me at the beginning of 8th grade, if I got my grades up, I could probably go anywhere I wanted in the country. And I got recruited by a school back in Colorado that the main employer was the maximum security prison. It had 8,000 people. The maximum security, the medium security, and ultimately Florence, which is the big sister to this one. I spent 2 years in prison reform as a junior and a senior working with people in this industry, and it was fascinating. So I'm just fascinated by what you did. So that's my personal story.
I have questions for you later.
For me or
Later, you don't want to ask them.
I got up.
I'm not going to waste anybody's time with it because it's my own morbid curiosity.
Thank you.
Thank you
I have a
so
couple.
much.
Hold
Oh,
on.
wait.
I got a couple. Couple of things. So we're working with the federal prison. Are we doing anything? Are we trying to do anything with the local jail? Now at the county prison commitments, the state prison is not housing as many people. And so there's a lot of people serving quote-unquote prison sentences locally in the county jail. That seems like a ripe population as well to have these same kind of programs for.
I have reached out multiple times, and I sit on 2 of the task forces for the sheriff's department. And at the current time, we keep talking about it. Nothing has materialized. And so that's the reason why I didn't want to report on that at this time, because I'm waiting to see if we can leverage what we're doing with the federal institution with going to the county jail and saying, look, this does
Showing
work.
the success,
How
yeah.
can we show the success on a county level?
They know that it works. They're using a college down the hill to do it.
true, and we're trying to kick them out, much like I kicked out a college from Orange County from the federal facility.
Right.
We also do teach classes there, right, Todd?
At the local jail.
Yeah, isn't that, Michelle, where does Bruce teach?
HDDC.
It's FCC.
Yeah, federal.
He teaches under the contract education.
Okay.
At FCC, is for solar and recycling. They have two active programs.
Yeah, I think we're working our way to get into the high desert detention center through other means. Yeah, we'll be in there.
We're
Right,
actually-
there's a college that runs the Inroads program there. And the Inroads program has like food handler certificates and the parenting classes, the same kind of trauma, rehabilitation stuff. They can get various certificates, they can get a GED. Their program's pretty good. I think we could do better, but that's being run by a down the hill college. I feel like you know who's running that program.
So
I think you know you don't play poker. You
No, I know
could
exactly what
read
you're
your
talking
face
about.
perfectly when I said
I
you
don't
gave
blame
the
him.
look, but I mean, no slight against them. They were smart to get into it. They've been in it for a long time. They provide services down at Glen Helen, at West Valley, at CDC. So good for them to extend their contract up into the Adelanto HDDC facility, but they're in our neighborhood, and so
They're on our
I
turf, is
I
that what you're
think,
saying?
right, exactly.
I see what you're saying.
Well, it's jailhouse politics, you know, so you gotta have lines. And so I mean, I think we should move on HDDC, honestly.
Well, isn't it an MOU? You have to wait for that to expire?
The issue is that they are under contract.
Right.
Right,
Through the
of course.
county, and yes, we're monitoring that, but the FCC was not under contract. In
Right.
fact, we could march
But
in
you
there
could
and
oust
offer as
them.
quick as possible.
Right.
I mean, I think
So,
it's
yeah.
great that we're in the federal prison, but a lot of people housed in that federal prison, and this is one of, like, Joe's biggest issue, is people getting educated, becoming, professionals or becoming experts in a field, any field, right? And then they move away. And so what do you call it? The brain drain? Or
Absolute brain drain.
the brain drain, right? That all the really talented people, or a lot of very talented people who could really add to our community in a multitude of ways, are leaving. And so we need those doers, those producers, those people to stay. The federal prison houses a lot of people who aren't even from the state of California.
Absolutely not.
They move federal prisoners around, and it could be a guy from Florida who was convicted of something, and this is where he's housed, and he's going to get released right back to Florida. He's never even going to step foot out of that prison in the state of California, which is good. I'm all for the program, fully support it, but to the ends of helping people who are going to get out of jail or prison and then come back to being our neighbors right here in this very small high desert, that's really HDDC is the place. So I'm glad you're monitoring it. I understand how it works, the politics and the business and the contracts. I get all that. But I would just say, like, we need to stay on top of that
And plant
and
the
be
seed
there
now.
to strike when it comes time for the contracts to be renewed, to take HDDC and run the program there. The other thing I would say that you may or may not be aware of is that at that juvenile facility that you're talking up off of Dale Evans, right? That place is about to be back at full capacity, probably very soon. Are you aware of this? Okay, good. I didn't know how many people knew about that, but with the upcoming closures of they just keep changing the name. This is the greatest trick in the world. They get into trouble and they get caught doing things, so they don't change the ways or change the people. They just change the name. So it was called CYA, California Youth Authority. It's called DJJ, Department of Juvenile Justice. There's a couple of other names. Every time there's a problem, they just change the name, but it's the same place. Prison for Kids. they're shutting all those down and they're pushing the responsibility off the state that runs DJJ back to the counties. And so that facility up on Dale Evans is going to be a long-term secure confinement facility for juveniles. So you're going to have potential. I mean, they won't be there forever. It's like up to age 25, but you're going to have a very full facility here in the very short future with a lot of young people who will need educational services. So I'm glad that you've
You
already
call
got
them
your
potential
foot.
clients.
Right. Well, prior clients at that point.
That was the data that I presented where we started a year ago when I was hired. We had 3 students taking online classes. We're now at 16 with 8 more that are getting ready to graduate from their high school program and transition straight into VVC.
Right. And there's hardly anybody there at that facility right now.
I think they're at 48
Right.
now.
No, it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be full.
It's going to be back to full like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So hundreds or more.
Yeah, and
So
probation actually serves on our task force, so they keep me well apprised on different programs, different ideas, and things that we have till we can expand there. And in fact, that's the reason for the policy change that we did for 50-55, was because those online students were being told, well, just come to campus if that class is full. And I was like, you're never going to see those kids
That
on
can't
campus.
happen, yeah.
Right.
So therefore, we changed the policy that would help out, that allowed them to have priority registration. So that's going to help out with that facility as well. The other big thing that we've done is done a lot of outreach, as well as things like T-shirts and sweatshirts, basketball shorts, everything regarding school supplies. We've started a library over there, a college library, and we've donated 8 of our computers.
At the juvenile
At the
facility.
juvenile facility.
Nice,
So therefore,
okay.
they're going from 3 to 16 with 8 more currently in the pipeline that will be there by the time probably May, June. We will have at least 8 more, so we'll be up to 24 or 25 just in that juvenile facility.
Okay. It's going to be a lot more than that soon.
Yeah. But now
So, but it sounds like you're aware that it's going to be a lot more. So I didn't know who knew what was going on up there with that facility. So good. That's great.
Keep up the good work.
Brandon, thanks for
Love the good work.
bringing, well, no, I think Brandon bringing to attention that we've got somebody else in our backyard. And as I've said before and said tonight back in closed session, we're still a very small market. Everybody kind of knows somebody, and there's times I think we need to leverage those relationships to be sure people are not poaching in our backyard, putting egos aside on who did it. Let's just get it said, it doesn't happen.
Right. I think the school, the down the hill school that has the contract now, they've had it for a long time, probably 20 years or more. And they've had it before HDDC was even built, right? HDDC was bare desert, and they had the contract down the hill. I also think that no other school wanted it. Nobody else wanted it. And so they've just had it, and they do a good job. I mean, I'm
But they're not us.
right. They're not us. I mean, their programs are limited. Like probably the biggest thing they do besides the high school diploma GED is the food handler certificate. I think we'll do a better job. They don't do a bad job, but it's just that nobody wanted it. I don't think any college in the entire county wanted to do what they were doing, and so they kept it. But
Well, it sounds like we're working on it. Yeah?
it does sound like we're working on it.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Good job.
Okay, moving on to consent. Oh, yeah. Agreed. Sorry. I get in my head a little. Really good job. Moving on to consent agenda. Did we ask about? Thank you.
We asked about the thing.
About the thing
The thing
that we're
about
supposed
the
to
thing.
ask about?
About the thing. And the people
So can I get a motion to
Motion.
approve?
Second.
Thank you. I love you
Dennis
guys.
got me.
So motion by Brady, second by Henderson. Student advisory on the consent agenda.
Yay.
Really short consent agenda.
Mm-hmm.
months ago. It was real long.
Cruise tickets?
Stop it.
Consent agenda.
There we go. Okay, so moving on to 9, action item, any public comments related to, thank you. And we had a deleted, or do we have to do anything about the pulled? No, we didn't
No.
pull consent, never mind, I'm fine, everything's fine, we're gonna be fine.
Motion on 10.2.
Thank you so much. We're gonna talk about 10.2 ASB out-of-state student travel.
Second.
Motion by Wood, second by Brady.
Do I
Student
vote on
advisory?
this?
You don't have to. You do what you want, girl.
Vote no.
Yay.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's what the rest of us are voting.
Where is this, why don't you tell the board what you're going, where you're going and why you're going?
For ASAC, it's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. It's for
November.
Huh?
In November.
Yeah.
'Cause you told
November
me.
4th through 6th. It's for student leadership conferences. It's to, I want to say, better our team as an ASB group and come back with information from there that'll help better the college and better us to help the college.
You can possibly be any better.
We can always do better.
Did we vote? Did it show up on the
I
thing?
voted. That's what I'm just.
We're waiting on who? You gotta vote.
Oh, I was gonna ask if they were gonna use the private jet. but-
Oh.
A private
And they're gonna
jet?
get their feet washed. We're gonna kill that one too. Oh,
We have a
sorry.
jet.
I just kicked you.
Use a semi-truck.
I'm driving.
That would be better though.
I'm driving.
Don't drive through Texas.
Did it show up? Thank you. 10.3, board resolution for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I'm going to give the motion to Brady, the second to Henderson.
You want a red?
Yeah, I think it should be red. Are we good?
Whereas
You're
there
gonna
too.
Dan, you want to read it?
I'll read it.
Thank you. Mine is very,
Whereas in 1945, National Employee, the Physically Handicapped Week, originally observed the first week in October, was then changed in 1965 to remove the word physically in order to acknowledge the employment needs and contributions of individuals with all types of disabilities. And whereas in 1988, the United States Congress declared October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month to educate and raise awareness about disability employment needs and contributions of individuals with disabilities. And whereas Victor Valley Community College District welcomes the talent of all people, including those with disabilities, as a critical part of the workforce and efforts to build an inclusive community and a strong economy. And whereas National Disability Employment Awareness Month, the college wishes to raise awareness and recognize, honor the talent and skills of Americans with disabilities. And whereas Victor Valley College promotes positive employment outcomes for people with disabilities by increasing access and opportunity and removing barriers to employment, now therefore be it resolved that Victor Valley Community College District does hereby recognize, support, and honor October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month and celebrates the many and varied contributions of people with disabilities.
amen. And I forgot to get the student advisory vote, so I apologize.
Yay.
Thank you.
And so this goes out tomorrow to the campus, right?
You get to sign it.
Happily. Okay. 10.4, second read / approval of Board Policy 2410, Administrative Procedure. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Brady, second
So-
Henderson.
I don't know if you want to do that on all of these, but there's
Do you guys
one.
want, are you okay with doing all
How we
of?
did them last time?
Yeah, like
Can we do
you're
them all?
You're the motion and
The
he's the
same
second
motion,
on all
same
I'd
of them.
rather
second.
have us read each one.
He's full
You
of
know
it.
exactly.
So we're gonna set it up to,
Do all at one
yes.
time.
So
Yeah,
we're gonna
do it all
take
together.
how long do you need to do that?
So it's one,
You want me to give them 5 or 10? 7, credit, 7. We're gonna take a 7-minute technology break to make that happen, so this little section goes faster and we can
Okay.
all use the restroom.
Okay, thank you. Oh, do we need a motion?
one,
Grady was the Look at all of them. You don't apologize, girlfriend. Look at them. We're coming back to order. Stop talking at the cookies.
Hello, hello.
My patience is done. Who gave me this? Can I get an extra? I'm putting this one in my purse.
Using the hammer.
I was told bang that gavel, and I think it was by several of you on the dais.
I'm glad you did it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we kind of like it.
I know you do. It's because I'm so polite about it.
Dennis is lost.
All right, so
Point Dennis, be a good flight attendant, point Dennis to his seat.
we just need to, are we just voting one, or you did all of us voting yes?
You all did unanimous, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It's all done.
So I'm moving on to 11, right? Okay, making sure. So.
Can we take another break?
No. The answer is no. 11, grant San Manuel Band of Mission Indians. You want to tell us a little bit about it before we get a motion on the floor?
No, that'd be good.
Motion on the floor, please.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by
So-
Brady, second by Henderson. Student advisory?
So they gave us a ambulance about a year ago, and this grant, which is almost $100,000, is going to help equip the ambulance
With
with
stuff.
like sim babies and mamas, sim mamas.
You told us about this already. Yes, okay.
Yeah, the
And I
foundation
read it.
secured this grant for us. Thank you very much.
Okay. So
Kirsten,
we're-
they really do a lot for us. I mean, they've done a lot every year, don't
Every
they?
year, they're such a good partner.
They're like $100,000. You can bank on it every year.
Yes, yes. You can't be tough to write the grant, but they're really.
One of our former graduates was Ramos, who became supervisor, became assemblyman, who, yeah. Yeah.
Time to vote.
Never turned down money.
Is it slow? Okey doke. Administrative Services Agenda, change orders 1 and 2, Southern Bleacher Company. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Ooh, we'll do Henderson as the motion and Brady as the second this
Right,
time, just to
so,
be fair.
John, you want
Call
to,
that tie to the runner. Tie to the runner.
this is a change order.
On
Change
bleachers?
orders for Southern Bleacher. While, there are three additional contracts that were separately bid out prior to the Bernard's contract. One of them was the bleachers, was awarded to Southern Bleachers. And those were based on the preliminary design and geotechnical report. So our first geotechnical report was not accepted by the California Geological Survey. So we had to go in and do some more geotechnical engineering that resulted in more work for Southern Bleachers. So this is to cover that additional rebar and tie bars, tie rods, or tie something, and to install that work, which is additional to what they had originally had been awarded a contract for. And then the second one's is to make the shutters motorized on the press box rather than manual.
That's fancy.
We gotta be up, man. We gotta compete with some of these schools down in Texas.
That's right.
Student advisory?
Yay.
I remember when Hesperia High School put in bleachers. They were all done on a Friday. They came back Monday, they were gone.
Like somebody stole them?
Somebody stole them.
Oh my God, that's a big truck.
They stole them all. They were all
That's
gone.
crazy.
Had to take that report.
That's crazy. Vote. Vote.
Oh,
Thank you.
sure.
Vote twice, Dennis.
Or just once will do. It's fine.
I found it. I found out who did it.
Really?
Yeah, they sold it to the scrapyard, just about 2 miles from the school. They
Oh
cut it
my
all up in
gosh.
little pieces and sold it.
Detective
Shocking.
Henderson.
So I arrested them.
Wow.
It was fun.
Okay, 12.2, agreement Ad Astra Information Systems LLC. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Henderson.
So this, well, Todd, this is your baby, you can tell about it. Why do we need to spend $128,000? That's what they wanna know.
Yeah, so for years, Victor Valley College did have a computerized or digital system for classroom scheduling, but we never used it. So, and it was out of date, so we scrapped that. So in the last few years, I think since I've been here, we room schedule our 1,500 sections with a paper and pencil. And of course, there's always going to be problems when you do it in that fashion. I mean, it's not even on an Excel spreadsheet. It is literally paper and pencil. So the purchase of this system, we're going to load every single space on campus, including faculty offices. Every space that we have is going to be in this system. It will help us, and then the attributes of the room will be in there. Like, this is a biology lab, this is a chemistry lab, this holds 50 seats, this holds 30 seats. And once that, we just submitted that to Ad Astra, and they're going to be loading that. So as time goes on and we start scheduling courses, our instructional program specialist or scheduling coordinators say, okay, I'm gonna schedule a History 117 course, and I know I need 30 seats, and it's from on this day and this time. So it will provide a list of okay, these are the available rooms during that time that will seat that many students. And then they'll be able to plug that in there. And then over time, the system will start to tell us, hey, listen, you scheduled this History 117 course in that classroom for the last, 5 or 6 semesters, and you only had 25 students in it when that's a room that has 50 seats. So you should consider moving that to a different room that has 25 seats and moving this to another room that has 50 seats in it. Or it will also start to notify us, because it is real time with colleague, that you have a section, you have History 117 on Monday and Wednesdays from 8 to 10:05. It's filled. So you need to think about scheduling another History 117 course. And they'll be color coded. So, like red is full, yellow, it's getting near full. It's like at 75% right now. We have that, but it doesn't automatically notify us. I have to go in, the deans have to go in. We look at a Hermes report, and you have to go down the list and see what the fill rates are or anything like that. So, and it will help us with room utilization, which we have a problem with right now, because, we have a hard time justifying to the state, we need another building because we don't efficiently use our rooms as it is right now. So that's, long story short, that's why we're purchasing this.
Cool.
Student advisory?
Yay.
Thank you, Todd. Okay, moving on to 13, can't see. Non-classified short-term employees.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
You guys are on it. I love it. Motion
we're
by
on top of it,
Henderson,
yeah.
second by Brady. Any discussion? Student advisory?
Yay.
Did y'all vote already?
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't come up on mine. Hold on, let me reload it. Sometimes if I hit the reload button, it kicked me all the way out of the meeting. Yay. If that's easier, I'll get logged back in.
Perfect. Okay.
I presume none of you would vote either.
No, we were all looking at you just for fun. 14.1 curriculum changes. Can I get a motion? Motion by Henderson, second by Brady. Any discussion? Student advisory?
Yay.
Are you logged back in? Did I go too fast?
No, I'm logged in, but did y'all get yours yet?
Yeah, just got
Did it
it.
again? There it is, I got it.
Okay, you're
Nice
last.
going.
She's put me on a delay now.
Yeah, she said
Teaching
you're.
me a lesson,
I love it.
and you're on delay.
On delay. All right, 14.2 animation technology purchase. By the sounds of things, needed because we're up so much. So motion, thank you.
Second.
Motion by Brady,
Okay.
second by Henderson.
So before you vote, Mackenzie, can you come up here, explain, so these next 4 items all deal with purchases and things that came through what she's gonna tell you about. How did we get this money and why are we doing all this so quickly?
Yes, so we receive strong workforce funds in rounds. We receive local funds, and we can spend however we want, and we receive regional funds where we have to align the money that we spend to projects across San Bernardino and Riverside County. We are, to quantify it, we are in round 7 right now, but we just recently closed out round 5 on June 30th. So when they closed up the books for the region at large, which is the IEDRC, they found out that not everybody spent their money. So there was about $700,000 left on the table for people to reallocate. And so they allowed us to submit applications requesting to spend request those funds and then commit to spend the money on a specific project in the region. So again, we don't have the luxury of just being like, hey, I want to put this towards cosmetology if there's no cosmetology regional project. So we took the application and we submitted one for a forklift. We submitted $288,000-ish for to buy 2 additional trucks, 2 additional trailers, $177,000-ish to buy new animation computers to make it a maker space. And we just wished for the stars, submitted it, and the next day we received, they pulled the app because they didn't give us a timeline, but on when we had to submit. So we submitted the app. The next day they pulled the app. They sent it out to the region to vote, and we won. And then they said, but by the way, you have to expend these dollars by November 15th.
We're in.
So luckily, since that point, it changed to December 15th. We have to expend the dollars, and we actually have to invoice before we leave for Christmas. As you all know, it's not an easy or short process to purchase semi-trucks or even Dell computers. And so we raced to Dr. Walden to get this onto the agenda. All of the items, getting the, we had probably less than 3 days from the day the vote closed, and then to get all the items on the board. So
Wow.
your assistance and is greatly appreciated. And we're in a mad rush, not because anybody delayed times over here. It was just the money went to people with good ideas and who committed to spend the money in a timely fashion. And we knew we would have your support, or we hoped it.
So you want us to
I would
table
say
that for a
this,
month?
this board would have come together on 24 hours' notice to meet to vote on that.
We would have.
No doubt about
We
it.
would have asked you to do that.
Well, we would have.
I mean,
Love
no, I'm just
spending money.
kidding.
Yes. It's,
Other people's money is even better.
Yep, and it really was. It was other colleges who didn't spend the money. We went back to
Well,
the table and got it.
Take note, we will spend it. Student advisory.
Thank you.
Yay.
We'll put it to good use.
Yes, that's what I meant by spend it. It was just like the foot washing.
Yep.
Quarterly.
She's gotta buy a garden hose and a scrub brush.
Oh, I have to vote. Just laughing at your dad jokes.
My dad jokes are on point.
They are on point. Okay, so then we'll move on to 14.3. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Henderson, second by Brady. And student advisory?
Yay.
Did I miss it? Okay, I thought I missed it, sorry. 14.4, can I get a motion? Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Henderson.
So this one was, labeled wrong, it was labeled as an
What?
action
The White
consent.
House is calling your phone.
But,
The White House is
if
calling.
you could all do a verbal
They
vote,
want.
and I can just go ahead.
Move it or adjust
Need
it.
someone to
So,
fill out
did
the
you guys
button.
hear, Michelle, we need to do a verbal vote on this, so do you need a one at a time?
What?
No, if you just.
So we just need to do a verbal vote on this one for
On
a
this-
technical
on this-
issue? Mm-hmm.
Aye.
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 And the student advisory vote was an aye as well. Okay. 14.5. Inland Empire Desert Region Participation Agreement 17, Strong Workforce Program, same.
Well, that was receiving the
situation.
$498,000 that they gave us.
Yep. So can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Brady, second by Henderson. Student advisory?
Yay.
Absolutely, yay.
It's a $500,000.
So so what happens is the state gives an allocation of categorical funds to strong workforce. 17% of that is skimmed off the top and given to the region, or the other 11 colleges, 12 of us in Region 9. So then the rest of the money goes to each individual college. So we get local strong workforce, and then we get regional strong workforce. For the regional, you have to compete for that by taking your projects to the region and making sure that it will benefit the region and not just your local college. So that's where this came from, and it's typical. I've watched this through the years that a lot of regional dollars don't get spent, and so
It's up for
it
grabs.
was great that Victor Valley stepped in and the region actually voted to give us this. The other colleges actually vote on this.
So we need
how
to
this
keep
works.
the ideas flowing. Yes, okay, good. That's amazing.
I think they felt guilty over dropping the ball on their project.
Maybe. That's pretty darn cool, though. Okay, so we pulled 15.1, so we're gonna move on to information and discussion. We have first read board policies that we all received via email. Is there any discussion on that? Not at all, okay.
Nope, read them all. Everything looks good.
Okay. All right, so I asked for one item to be put on this for discussion, and I did not talk to any of you about this ahead of time, so forgive me if this feels weird or whatever. I just wanted to follow the actual protocol of how things are supposed to occur. And so 16.5, I wanted to talk about rotation of officers and our current board policy. And just if we want to keep it as we have, where it's just been rotating annually, or if there are people that maybe don't want to participate in that rotation, if everybody's comfortable with taking the roles, like the executive roles and things like that. So I just wanted to open it up for public discussion. And if you all feel that it's fine the way it is, we can leave it the way
I
it is.
don't think it's broken.
No, I think it's fine.
I will tell you, President Tarpley, when I came here, it wasn't done like this.
No,
So-
it was different.
It was very different. And I think in the early time I was here with the help of the other board members, we changed this. We debated it, and it's fine. What's written is one thing, and how we do it is something else, and I think it's worked well.
What do you mean by what's written is one thing?
Well, I can't remember exactly how the policy read, but we understand as board members that it rotates based on where you are in line, and
Yeah.
it's kind of an
Unspoken rule.
unspoken.
What it basically says is that you don't have to accept the office when it's your turn, and when you don't, it skips to the next step, and then
In the
You wouldn't get
rotation.
another right. You wouldn't get another chance at that until
It's your turn in the
it's
rotation.
your turn again in the rotation. You can't,
Okay. Yeah,
you
we
can't say, I want to
changed-
delay it a year. You do it according to the policy, and
We-
it's actually printed there.
Yeah, we changed the policy at some point because 2210 says the board has an official system of rotating officers. The officers include president, vice president, and the clerk. Vice president becomes president, clerk becomes vice president, and the next in line becomes the clerk, with the outgoing president moving to the end of the rotation. New board members will be placed at the end of the rotation. Any board member can decline to serve as an officer with no explanation necessary, although we would all totally demand one, in which case the next in line would be eligible for the seat. So we did modify it. So now what we do
Is what is
2210
written. I
board
thought, that's
policy.
why I was
We used to
confused. I
do-
was like, I thought
We used
something.
to, though. We used to do it differently than what was written.
Yeah, they used
That's
to-
why we
and I mean,
updated
You
that.
updated this late, the last time you reviewed it was July the 12th of this year.
Right, yeah, so we just
Well,
updated it.
how quickly I forgot.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if there were people that weren't comfortable with how this was, or if
Actually,
there was
August
No,
anything.
everybody's
22,
comfortable
we approved
so
it.
far.
Yeah, it's, we did,
First read
we
was-
changed, yeah, first read was, July 12th, and the approval was August 9th. But we did change it, but we did for a long time do it just,
Do it different than what was written,
Different.
which is not good.
it was
No,
still
we need
like-
to have it
was
written
within
down.
the policy, but it was not exactly what the policy said, but
Mhm.
it didn't violate the policy.
When I first came here, it was pure politics.
It was what?
Pure politics.
Yeah, pure politics.
I just was curious if anybody wasn't comfortable taking on like additional leadership or anything like that. I just
No.
want to make sure everybody's comfortable with everything that happens here.
I like the way it is.
You like the way it is?
I would just say this, if you are president of the board, I expect that you're gonna be at those functions no matter what.
Those functions.
Those functions that require the president to be here. I mean, when President Walden says, hey, I need you here, you know, if you're, I told him I'd be in Ireland, but that was, made 9 months ago.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I think everybody that's been president fulfills it, and I just think that we should expect that to happen. So we don't ever have any fill-ins.
Right.
No.
Agreed.
Or at least rarely.
Yeah. I mean, when you were out at school and you couldn't, Dennis stepped up, but then you
Right.
showed up. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
like, I'm blowing it off or I'm out of state and I don't want to be here.
No, not at all. No, I just wanted to bring it the proper way to everybody, and just make sure everybody was still cool with
Wanted
it.
to know if anybody was gonna abdicate
For what?
the throne.
Oh, abdicate. I thought you said advocate. I
No,
can't hear.
Abdicate the throne.
Oh, yeah, I did actually. Like, if you don't want to do it, it's whatever.
I
Like-
don't want to be king.
The seat with a wonderful title and absolutely no power
Right,
whatsoever.
exactly. But I don't know. I just felt like maybe there may be people that weren't interested or whatever for
No,
whatever
I know.
reason, and so
So,
I wanted to talk
I think
about
we
it.
beat that horse to death.
Yeah, we did. So discussion ended.
Now,
Good discussion.
Okay, board reports. So let's start with Brady. Is that okay?
Student trustee?
Do you want to give a board report?
She should go first.
You can go first.
Sure.
Sorry.
I started a new job at Mojave River Academy. I tutor elementary to high school kids. He's gonna hate me for saying this, but Mr. Brandon Wood's birthday is on Monday. Happy early birthday! And Miss Jennifer Tarpley's birthday will pass before we have our next board meeting on November 6th. So happy birthday to you guys.
Wow, snitchy
Mr. Brady's
over
birthday
here.
is
When's your
Real
birthday?
soon,
Happy
this
early
month.
birthday.
real soon.
Like next week?
Did you have a
or
good trip?
This weekend?
Oh, Joe's
It is this
coming up
weekend?
too?
Yeah, real soon.
did you see any leprechauns?
I actually
He's
thought
not
I
gonna
was,
say here.
this
he's
is sad to
dodging it.
say.
When's
This
your
is sad to
birthday?
Hey, were
say.
you born?
Yeah,
Huh?
my birthday's in the next.
Well, I got a
next
clarification
year.
when I was born the other day. So one of my best friends is 18 days older than I am. And there are 30 of us that we keep on this little email tree. So I emailed Theo and I said, hey, happy 67th birthday. Email back, he said, Joe, we're only 65. We're just now turning 66. So it's October 22nd, I turned 66.
Happy early
Wow.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday.
birthday. We're not going to let you do board reports anymore if you're going to have us like
You're out.
that.
So did you see any leprechauns while you were there?
Well, I'll tell you.
All right, Joe?
So Dennis wanted to know if I saw any leprechauns in Ireland. So the trip, just to go on the public record, because I had somebody in politics in Victorville bring to the attention, how could you, not be at a board meeting? And candidly, I didn't think I was going to run this year. And we booked a trip, three weeks, played 7 championship golf courses, and played the #1 golf course in the world out of 38,000. We teed off and it was dry, and we finished 4 hours later. 4 hours and 30 minutes later, we took on 3 inches of rain at 40 miles an hour.
Oh,
And it was an experience I would go do tomorrow. It was like playing in a hurricane. And over there, when you tee off, you tee off, you don't quit. So it was a great trip. The ladies all had fun. We, for all the Guinness that we drank and all the Bushmills, and they actually, in their porridge, for their oatmeal over there, they always have a bottle of Bushmills next to their porridge in these hotels. So it's, I guess, common practice. Long story short, I lost 13,000 calories, walked 106 miles, and played some great golf courses. I now have my 51st top 100 golf course card in the world out of 38,000. So I played 51.
6 miles?
Oh, yeah. We didn't, there's no golf carts over there. You walk.
Wow.
So and the people are really nice in Ireland. I'll say this, they think our governmental system is absolutely in shambles.
Insane. Yeah, shambles.
What was weird is we were there the day the Queen died, and we were there the day that she was buried. We went through Heathrow 10 minutes after her thing. I never thought of her as my queen, but when you watch the news over there and all you hear for 14 or 15 days or whatever, we were there for almost 3 weeks. Everything about the Queen, she is really just an incredible person. So I'm glad I did it. Deb said there's no golf trips planned until probably 2025 when we're going to Australia. So we got a big one in Australia. We lost a trustee in the region, a guy that, when trustee or president was talking about our 16.7% reserve that we had, I remember Jennifer meeting. I'd always known Ted Baca, and I'd always known Ted as an educator, and he was a trustee out at the college. And my friend Andy Harmio put us together. Just suggested we have lunch one day out at Idle Spurs. And this is back when we were really floundering, and we didn't have 5% here. I remember sitting down with Ted and having lunch and asking him kind of how they, the budgets, and we were really having a lot of trouble. And when I brought up the reserve, I will never forget the finger that he put literally straight out and said, we have a 15% reserve and it's not negotiable. And today, apparently, they're at like 25.
Wow.
So he died while we were gone. Actually, I think the morning before he left. So, you get that text from Paul out there. So they've lost 2 trustees this last year with Tim Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to ask our college to think about putting together a resolution for Ted that we could present to his wife and his family sometime maybe in December or January. Big loss in Barstow. We went to the funeral. There were just a lot of people there. Last thing, and I know this is not probably a good subject, back when the building we got from Sterling that ultimately was purchased by Eric Schmidt, during that period of time, the county took a lot of public bows. There was a lot written about what the county did at that building. Shortly after Dr. Dan got here, we talked about it. And at the time, I had a good relationship with the then chairman, the now chairman, Phil Cothran of the San Bernardino County Workforce Investment Board, and a great relationship with one of his friends, Vice Chair Dr. William Sterling. I felt, and others felt, that are not here tonight, that the college kind of got duped in that we were writing these checks, and there was really no accountability from the county's role. Last year, Dr. Dan and I and Dr. Sterling and Phil Cothran had a private lunch up at the SAC. And during that lunch, they were both very clear about what they thought that we should get, and that there were probably monies that should come back to us. And they weren't speaking in their position as directors of the web. They just said, here, this is to give you. And I remember we walked out the room, and Dr. Walden said, Joe, wow, I never knew that. Now I understand why you're so adamant about it. Well, funny things happen in politics and and with people. I had then talked to Brad Gates about 5 months ago. I've known Brad since he came to the county. He left the county, went to Ontario, went back. And I gave him a call one day just to ask him where this thing was, because I really feel that the colleges owed that money. And he gave me his, bureaucratic position, and I understood. I mean, I know Brad well enough that he's trying to, one, support his job, and he doesn't want to cross the line. Well, from that, I think things have somewhat eroded, and there have been some emails that have gone back and forth, and I'm sure that Dan has found Dr. Dan has found a little challenging, but at this point, they don't believe that there's any money owed. And I said to Brad Gates today, I was dictating some as Deb and I were driving back from San Diego, that I wanted to go on the record, and I'd be sure that this is on the record. I feel very strongly that we need some closure to it, and I'm not talking about just VVC just rolling over. I also understand how important it is to have that relationship with the county, but I don't like it when you have people there that say, oh yeah, we do owe you money, and all of a sudden, a couple months later, it reverses itself. It just didn't make sense. So I'm going to throw that out. If Dr. Dan wants to do something, I encourage him. I think we both know what was said at that lunch, and I know what Dr. Dan said to me as I left. So with that, it's nice to be home. It's nice to be on American soil. And,
Well, I would say that I did talk to Brad last week. They have given us about $100,000 in the last couple of years. 50,000 of it, which was mentioned at that dinner, that luncheon that we had, where Phil was there, and I forget the other guy.
William Sterling, Dr. Sterling.
That we were not aware of the $50,000 that they had voted. They had not notified us that we could have that. And we used that. We did get that money, because I went from that meeting and followed up and got that $50,000, and we taught classes with it at the High Desert Training Center. Then they have since given us about another $50,000, so about $100,000 total to teach classes. When I ask about, and they've told me this every time I've asked this question, but what about our $2 million capital investment out there? And they said that their rules, this is what they tell me, do not allow workforce development dollars to be used for capital projects. They can use it for instruction and things like that. So that's what they've done so far, is given us close to 100,000 in classes that we've taught out there under Frank at the High Desert Training Center. So they've funded the instruction, but not given us any money on the building at all. And it's true, what Joe said, the first alarm that I got was, Joe took me down to the state of the county at what was that big arena down there?
Toyota.
Toyota? Yeah, and they had just done this thing for, this High Desert Training Center for Victor Valley College, and it was like they're taking credit for it.
There were 1,000 people there when they did this.
And I'm like, well, then where's, I didn't see any money. Because when I got here, the first thing on the agenda at that very first board meeting was the lease. And we did all the building and everything after that. So I knew it didn't happen before I got here. So that is the story that I know of since then. I do want to keep a good relationship with the Workforce Development Board. I think it's real important that we continue to work together. We had a good conversation, but at this point, I'm not convinced we're going to get any money, even though there was some indication that day that maybe there were funds, but I'm not hearing that.
Well, I'll just
We'll
close.
keep taking the instruction money,
Yeah.
for sure.
But Dan, and maybe I just look at this in, the private sector way. There was a $2 million commitment. There was always this word, this understanding. I sat in Robert Lovingood's office with Dr. Wagner when he chewed on him one day. Absolutely irrespective. I mean, it was terrible what he did to Dr. Wagner. If there's a way to cut a deal, whether they pay $50,000 for the next 40 years and equalize it, that's a business deal. But if the college wants to walk away from that money, that's up to the college. I just think as a trustee, I've got an obligation. I was there. I'm not going to just roll over and say, okay, not. Obviously, I don't want to, poke at the county. But you know what? It's still an issue of dollars and cents. So there's got to be another way to do it.
Well, I am under the impression, and Todd, maybe you can speak to this, that they're going to continue to fund us for those classes. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we should be getting these in $50,000 increments. So if over time it's $400,000 or $500,000 within, I even told Brad last week, I'd take all the money that we could get, and if there's a way to get it, I want to get it. So if it's through instruction, well, okay, we'll take it that way.
Well, then maybe somehow you can take the email that I dictated as I was in the car and hit reply all and say, maybe, this is what we discussed tonight, so we can close the thing out. I just, there's nothing worse that you kind of inherited this problem.
Yeah.
And what you heard at lunch that day was absolutely opposite of what Brad Gates told you, correct?
Well, but I was told that what Brad told me is the same thing I was told when I first got here and I approached the Workforce Development Board. That's what they told me then. I forget the name of the people that were in charge back then because Brad wasn't the executive director at that time. I can't even remember who.
Well, I'll say this. There's 3 members of the High Desert that High Desert community, the Mojave River Valley community, that are part of the Workforce Investment Board. I sat on the Workforce Investment Board 30 years ago. That's how I got to know Phil and all those people. And Orlando Acevedo, who's with the town of Apple Valley, Jonathan Weldy, who works with John O'Haney at Tapestry, and Shannon. All 3 of those are members. So, if you're satisfied that you think that we're going to, get 50 grand here and there, and there's no promise for long term, then I've gone on the record and I've done what I need to.
Well, as Todd just indicated, it was my understanding they intended to continue to fund us. So
Maybe you could close out that email though, that I sent.
yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Are we satisfied? Okay, go ahead, Dennis.
I don't have a whole lot to say. I didn't go to Ireland. I didn't see any leprechauns. I was here with everybody. And I just want to say have a happy Pumpkin Day. Trick or treat. Enjoy. Halloween.
Okay, Brandon?
This isn't on. Does it even need to be on? It won't. There we go. So this past week I attended the trustee, what was it called, Michelle? The trustee orientation. Candidate workshop. The candidate workshop.
Oh, yeah.
I am up for re-election this year. I guess the ballots are actually out. So I did attend the candidate workshop. It was a fun evening. A lot of it was repetitive for me, having been on the board for a while, but it's always good to relearn the lessons and kind of go over the concepts regarding trustee boundaries and job duties and what is and is not appropriate and what is and is not expected of us. You never hear that too many times. It's always good to have that in the forefront of your mind. So I appreciate that being put on. I know, Michelle, you did most of the legwork on that, and Gabby. So thank you very much for, Gabby says she didn't do anything. Gabby always says she didn't do anything.
She said
Gabby
no
never does
problem.
anything. Oh, I thought you said I didn't do anything. Thank you, Gabby. Gabby is always the first one, though, to say, I didn't do that. So great evening. Thank you very much. Always good to see Guy Lease. And Dan was there. Thanks for being there, Dan, and giving up your evening to kind
I was there.
of be the quasi-host or the second host with Guy Lease.
I just wanted
That's-
to make sure Brandon knew what he was getting into if he ran again.
Right. Yeah, what I learned about you can't try to influence the outcome of football games through your position as a trustee. That was one of the hypotheticals. they try to write like these very, kind of vanilla hypotheticals. So that was it. But it was, it highlighted the point without going too deep in the weeds. So that was about it, I would say. Happy Halloween, everybody. Have a nice, safe Halloween and trick-or-treating. And we're coming up quickly on the holidays. Time flies, huh? So that's it.
Okay, and Sharon?
Well, I'm going to take off from what Brandon was talking about in regards to all the students for those classes and welding and all that. I got this information, and it said the outreach department made over 28,000 personal phone calls to current and non-current students. So that helped increase our enrollment up to 25.8%. It was from all this, what they've done. And I don't know if anybody knew that, but that's really good news. And in October 31st to November 1st, they're having an outreach, the one and done. And they're going to provide services to help get students registered. And if they have any questions, whatever, they can go to counseling. And the other thing, I went to the football game, John and I did, and then we went to the wrestling, women's soccer, men's soccer, women's volleyball, and then went to the basic needs event. So, and that's it. Have a wonderful rest of the week and happy Halloween.
Thank you for representing. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and second, okay. You didn't have a report? No, I talked enough. It was Wood and Brady.